Welcome back to the Freedom Equation, the podcast where we explore the different paths to personal and financial liberty. I'm here with my co-host.
Hello, everyone. I want you to imagine two people. The first, let's call him Alex, drives a brand new luxury car, wears designer clothes, and his social media is a constant stream of lavish holidays and expensive dinners. To the world, he looks incredibly successful.
Okay, I can picture Alex. He sounds like he's living the dream.
Now, imagine a second person. Let's call her Benita. She drives a modest, reliable car that's a few years old. She wears comfortable, unbranded clothes and rarely posts on social media. She seems average. But what the world doesn't see is that Alex is drowning in debt to fund his lifestyle, while Benita is secretly a millionaire, on the verge of retiring a decade early.
That is a powerful contrast. It really makes you think about what wealth actually is. And that's our topic today, isn't it? A simple but profound piece of advice. Live below your means and don't show off.
Exactly. It's one of the oldest rules in personal finance, but in our hyper-visual, social media-driven world, it's more relevant and more difficult to follow than ever. We're going to explore what it really means and why it is the absolute bedrock of building true, sustainable freedom. As this is a deep topic, let's start with 5 key terms and phrases that will be central to our discussion today.
First up is our main theme, the idiom to live below your means. This simply means to spend less money than you earn, creating a positive gap between your income and your expenses.
The result of doing that consistently is a concept called stealth wealth. Stealth is about being quiet and unnoticed. So stealth wealth is the practice of having a high net worth without showing it off through expensive possessions.
A major barrier to this is lifestyle creep. This is the common tendency for people to increase their spending every time their income goes up. You get a pay rise, so you get a more expensive car. Your spending creeps up alongside your earnings.
And the reason that happens is often because of another idiom, keeping up with the Joneses. The Joneses is a general term for your neighbors or peers. This phrase describes the social pressure to constantly compete with those around you in terms of status, possessions, and lifestyle.
And finally, a practical term, discretionary spending. This is the money you spend on non-essential things, your wants rather than your needs. Think holidays, designer goods, and eating out at fancy restaurants. Managing this is key.
Excellent. So, listen for to live below your means, stealth wealth, lifestyle creep, keeping up with the Joneses, and discretionary spending.
Okay, so let's break down the core idea. When some people hear live below your means, they might think it means being cheap or depriving yourself of everything fun.
That's a common misconception. It's not about deprivation, it's about intention. The fundamental goal is to create a significant, consistent gap between what you earn and what you spend. It's about consciously deciding where your money goes rather than letting it disappear on autopilot.
So it's less about the price of something and more about the value it brings to your life.
Precisely. Someone living below their means might happily spend a lot of money on a trip around the world because they deeply value travel, but they might save money by driving an older car and not buying the latest phone because those things aren't their priority. It's about aligning your spending with your values, not just cutting costs everywhere.
And the purpose of creating that gap between earning and spending is to have money left over for your future goals, right?
Yes, that gap is where freedom is built. That surplus money is what you use to build an emergency fund, pay off debt, invest for retirement, and ultimately, buy back your time. When you have savings and investments, you have options. You can leave a job you hate, start a business, or handle an unexpected crisis without panic. That security is a far greater luxury than any designer handbag.
That makes perfect sense logically, but it feels like society pushes us in the exact opposite direction. The pressure to keep up with the Joneses is very real.
It is, and it's deeply ingrained in our psychology. We are social creatures, and we have a natural tendency to measure our own success against those around us. For centuries, that meant your immediate neighbors. If they bought a new horse and carriage, you felt a pressure to do the same. But now, with social media, our neighbors are everyone in the world. We see the highlight reels of thousands of people, and it can feel like we're constantly falling behind.
You've hit on the key accelerator of this problem. Social media has put keeping up with the Joneses on steroids. It creates a heavily distorted view of reality. You see the luxury holiday, but you don't see the credit card debt that paid for it. You see the expensive car, but not the stressful job the person works 80 hours a week to afford it. This constant comparison is a recipe for unhappiness and poor financial decisions.
And this is where lifestyle creep comes in, isn't it? You get a promotion, you feel successful, and you feel a pressure to look successful.
Exactly. Let's take a very common example. Sarah gets a £10,000 pay rise. For the first month, she feels great, with lots of extra money. But then she thinks, I've worked hard, I deserve a nicer car. So her car payment goes up by £300 a month. Then she sees her friends buying homes in a more expensive area. So she decides to move, and her mortgage goes up by £500. Within a few months, that entire £10,000 raise has been absorbed into her new, more expensive lifestyle. She's earning more, but she's no wealthier. Her spending has crept up to match her new income. She is trapped. So the alternative to this is the person we mentioned at the start, Benita. She's practicing what you called stealth wealth.
Yes, stealth wealth is the quiet confidence of financial security. It's a mindset that is completely detached from public validation. People who practice it understand that the purpose of money is not to impress others, but to serve their own life goals. They prioritize financial independence over status symbols.
What are the tangible benefits of that approach, beyond just having money in the bank?
The benefits are profound. The first is, of course, freedom. The freedom from financial anxiety is a superpower. The second is security. Life is unpredictable. When a crisis hits, those with stealth wealth have a robust safety net. They can weather the storm.
I've also heard it can improve your relationships.
It absolutely can. When you don't display wealth, you attract people who are interested in you for who you are, not for what you have. Your relationships are more genuine. And finally, there is a deep sense of peace. A simpler life, free from the stress of debt and social comparison, is a calmer and happier life. It's interesting how this philosophy is sometimes easier to adopt when you move away from your home country. Living as an expat, in a place like Cambodia, for instance, can often reset your social pressures and help you focus on different life priorities.
Okay, this is all incredibly inspiring. For someone who wants to move in this direction, where do they start? What are the first practical steps?
It begins with awareness. The first step is always to track your spending for a month, every single penny. You cannot control what you don't measure. This isn't about judging yourself, it's about gathering data. You'll likely be shocked at where your money is actually going.
Once you have that data, what's next?
Step 2 is to define your true priorities. This requires some deep thought. Ask yourself, what do I want my life to look like in 5 years? What brings me genuine, lasting joy? When you are crystal clear on your goals, it becomes much easier to cut back on discretionary spending that doesn't align with those goals. You're not depriving yourself, you're trading short-term gratification for something you want much more.
That reframes it from a sacrifice to a strategic choice. What's the final step?
The final step is to automate your savings and investments. Make it effortless. Set up a standing order to transfer a portion of your salary to a separate savings or investment account the day you get paid. This is the pay yourself first principle. You build your wealth automatically in the background, making it the path of least resistance.
So the core message is that true wealth isn't about what you show to the world. It's the security and freedom you build for yourself quietly and consistently.
Exactly. It's about using your money to buy freedom, not just to buy things. And that is a foundational component of anyone's freedom equation.
What is one thing you could give up that you buy for status in order to fund something that brings you genuine freedom? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for tuning in to the Freedom Equation.